That way, if there's anybody that's just not able to join, they want to come back and see the information that we shared. This will be added to the link on the TSIN website, so you can view this video call again as soon as the meeting's over. That record will download, and then I'll have it uploaded by tomorrow afternoon at the latest. So right at 4 o'clock, we are going to go ahead and get going. So good afternoon again, everybody, and thank you all for being here. Very much appreciated. The purpose of this call is just to provide a touch point for you if you have questions about the statewide design challenge. We're going to look at a couple of dates. We're going to talk about the submission process, and then we're going to talk about what this looks like at this year's summit, May 8th and 9th. And the summit I'm referring to is the STEM Innovation Network Summit that takes place every year in Nashville. So we like to recognize our winners at that summit. All right. First things first, if you see this QR code here, scan that. If you have a question, you scan that and that'll send that directly to me. If it's something that you don't want to ask online, or if you want to save that for later, come back and visit it. If you have a question that comes up or if someone else has a question, then scan that QR code, put that question in. That'll let me know how I can best answer that question. So pertaining to anything, timeline, am I doing this right? Where do I find the rubric? All of those things. Okay. So first thing I wanted to talk about was the timeline for the local competitions. If you saw the digital information packet and if you saw the timeline that I've been sharing, local competition refers to you having the competition within your own school, within your own school district. This is how you would select your winner that will be entered into what we call the regional competition. So you don't worry about you don't worry about the regional competition. You worry about the local competition. Some of you have probably already held your local competition and you know who your winner is. Some of you are probably getting ready to do that coming after winter break. Some of you may be planning what your local competition looks like right now. All of those things are fine. The most important piece here is that you have your local winner identified before March 10th. There's a type form that you're going to need to enter your local winner into, and that's going to be the local winner statewide design challenge type form. You'll get an email with this information, but there will be a QR code in that email. There will be a link in that email for you to enter that local winner. So that type form exists right now, but it's not going to open until February. So if you already have your local winner, that's great. Things you can work on between now and when that email is sent out is you can work on getting your students' artifacts together, the video of their presentation, the rubric that you used to score them. All of those things we're going to be asking for in the local competition entry. That's how we are going to judge them regionally. So once the local competition is concluded and all of those entries have been received by March 10th, that's where you kind of get to pause. So from March 11th through April 4th, my team is going to be scoring those presentations, and we're going to be, let me admit this person here. We're going to be looking at all of those presentations. We're going to be looking at the rubrics, and we're going to be selecting different local winners by grade level that will be competing against each other for the state competition. So the regional winners will be contacted and we will discuss a date where your students can present live to a panel for the statewide challenge. So I'll go back here. Sorry. Um, so the local competition, that's all you. You decide who your local winner is. You enter that winner by March 10th. The regional competitions is all us. You sit back, hold tight until after April 4th, and then we will be announcing who the regional winners are that will be competing in the state level competition. So if you get an email, thank you for participating in this year's statewide design challenge. We appreciate the entry. However, your group was not selected to be considered for the statewide challenge. Or another email, congratulations, your group has been selected to compete in the state level competition. Please let us know what date best suits you and your students for a live presentation. So for this level here, through April 7th through the 18th, we kind of widened the range. Last year, it was a very short amount of time that we had to work with. So we want to make sure that we're flexible enough for everybody to have their best presentation. Last year, I know we had a group that all of their students weren't able to present, so they had a stand-in, and not saying that affected results or anything, but saying that we want to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to have their full team available for that live presentation. This gives us enough time, I feel, to combat some sickness if anybody has to be out for that. It also gives our teachers a good window to plan around some things. I know that we're getting into the testing window here, so we want to make sure that we're letting you know we are aware of that. That's why that window is so big there. So um, you'll get an email with the QR code for the local entries. From there, we will handle the regional competition, and then you'll get another email in April about the state level competition. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing now and I'm going to open it up. If anybody has any immediate questions about the timeline, about dates, anybody have anything that they'd like to ask about those?
Hi there. I have a question about the artifacts when we submit them for regionals. Does that also include a permission form from the parents, correct?
So there is a media release form that is attached in that QR code. And that media release form is linked to where you can just pull that directly out.
Mhm.
Um, if it would help to send that early, then I am happy to do that. But that just gives us the permission um, to have your student shown on our social media pages for announcements. And then this year at Summit, when we have the videos playing. Does that help?
That would help if we could get them, I could get them just as separate PDF I can print out and not.
I will certainly do that. So what I'll do is I will put that in the follow-up email after our meeting this afternoon. And
Hi. Oh,
hey,
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Would the recording link also be in that email after this meeting? I'm sorry, I was a little bit late as well.
No, that's fine. So after this is recorded, it's going to take a while for my computer to download this and to match the audio. It usually takes a little while. So I'll have that uploaded to the TSIN websites by tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can actually show you where that's going to live. So let me get this pulled up and then I'll share my screen again. All right, so if you go to our page, and I'll just start from the beginning right here. If you go to our page, it's going to be under what we do. Classroom Opportunities 2025 Statewide Design Challenge. And then near the bottom here, link for today's meeting. And then this afternoon's meeting, I'm just going to load that video right there where it says Coaching Touchpoint number 2. And that's how you can access today's recording.
One of the things I've had trouble with before is the video to load and to share that with you guys. Um, do you have a recommendation of what's worked best for you guys?
Yeah, so sorry if you can hear my animals going crazy in the background right now. Um, Kiddos are home from school. So a couple of suggestions on that. You can share the link directly with me via email if you know that it's not working. Or if you do want to upload that Google Drive link into the type form.
The thing about that is I
I'm
can't
trying to let
share things. Oh,
that
that's okay. If it's bothering you more than probably we can't barely hear it. The only thing about trying to share something is I can't typically share those things with people outside the county. But I can figure it out. I can send it, I guess, to my person.
Okay, so if that's something that is difficult, we will certainly figure that out. Yeah, the video link does, I would prefer it to be sent through that type form, but if there's a barrier that keeps you from doing that, by all means, let me know, send that to me in a separate email document. We'll figure out how we can get that to watch. Yeah, don't let that stop anyone from submitting. All right, something else that I did want to share, I announced it during our last meeting, but I want to make sure that I bring attention to it again, is that we are doing something new this year, and we are pretty excited about it. All right, so what I'm showing you now is the digital information packet. This is something that you've all gotten, and I am going to scroll down to page 9 here, and this just shows you what categories we're going to be awarding this year. So what's not new is that we're awarding an elementary category, a middle school category, a high school category, the blue sky category, and then the STEM inclusion. Those are the same ones that we awarded last year. What is new is that we are going to provide a free ticket to the teacher of the group for the winners. So if your students, if you have a group of students that wins the middle school competition, the students won't be invited to the summit. We don't have students there, but the teacher will be invited with a free ticket to accept the award on stage this year. So we're going to be presenting the teacher with an award on stage at Summit this year, and we will be providing one free ticket to the teacher to represent that group for the day. So that is new, and we are excited to do that. That'll be a good picture for you to share with your students accepting that award. We are going to be having awards for the individual students again, but the school, the teacher itself, will be awarded with the plaque. And so with a timeline on that, um, we know that our ticket sales open in February. Tickets sell out really quickly. Um, what if I buy a ticket and then what if my students win? I was planning to go anyway. There is a reimbursement process that we can go through. That way, your school or you, however that ticket was purchased, those funds can be reimbursed. All right, what other questions or wonderings do we have? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a question in the chat here. It says, did you say we can turn in a filled out rubric with our local winner? Yes, please do turn in that filled out rubric with your local winner. That helps us know how you scored. We will be using a rubric as well, but we always like to have that rubric that you scored for a comparison. Maybe there's something you saw that we didn't. Maybe there's something that we need to reach out to you about getting a little more information, something that just wasn't something that didn't send through during the submission process, things of that nature.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Uh, does anybody have any recommendations for any video formats? I've used Flipgrid in the past, but it's not free anymore.
I think that's a great question for the group. I think y'all may be able to answer that better than I. Anyone have any suggestions?
You mean to record the students
Yeah,
for their presentation?
when they record their presentations.
One of the things I've done before is I had them just record it on the Zoom and submit it that way. Download it. That was free. If
Oh,
your students have Zoom on their Chromebooks.
okay. I don't think they have Zoom, but they have Google Meet. I was thinking that might work.
Yeah, Google Meet. Any of those type of platforms.
Okay. I was just double checking. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. And thank you for answering that for me. Um, any platform will be accepted. And if it's not something we can open, then we'll figure out a way to view that.
Would just the regular iPad camera work?
I think that'd be fine. Yeah, if you wanted to record on iPad, and if you can download it through iMovie and upload it that way, if that works for you, then certainly.
Okay, got it. Can I ask one more question? It's our first time participating and we're kind of joined later in the game.
Yeah.
Um, so we went through the rubric as they're working on their project. Um, if they're not developing like an actual object, but like a fundraising campaign, is that still an option?
That is a great question. I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes, you do not have to physically build something to be considered for the competition. A plan, a model. We've had several groups in the past that have just submitted plans for what they would build if they were to continue with this. So the answer to your question is no, you don't have to have something physical submitted.
Okay.
Piggybacking off that question, I know it's talking about the EDP as a primary uh how you want it done. That does include the design thinking process as well, right? Especially since you said we could do like fundraisers and blogs and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that be one of the first components, if that's your process for this particular project, then certainly.
Do you have the numbers of how many participants you have at each grade level?
So not at each grade level. And there's a goal that we set at last year's summit for how many students we were hoping to have participate this year. So what I do have is a number of teachers that said, here's how many students I have. We plan to participate. Now, how many of those actually submit their local winners? I won't know that yet, right? Um, but I will say, and I'll announce the big number at the summit this year, but we exceeded the goal that we publicly set. So we do have teachers that said 10,000 is the goal we set, right? So we've exceeded that number. enough teachers have submitted saying, my students are going to do this and we're going to participate this year. So it is well over 10,000, the number of students that theoretically we have working on this right now. Now, the actual number, I don't know that.
Probably a silly question, but I did get it from my students as we were reviewing the package. What does student award look like? I'm sorry.
No. Can you ask that again for me?
What does a student award looks like? Do they just get like a certificate or what?
No, that's a great question. I love that question. So last year we did individual plaques for the students. This year we are going to do individual certificates for the students. There'll be much more than just a piece of paper. So individual certificates for the students, and then the teacher, the school, the classroom, the group will be awarded with the actual award.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then you can tell your students they're also going to be rewarded with a little bit of social media presence. They will have they'll have some announcements being made about them at their school and at the summit this summer.
Thank you. They would love that. I think that.
We so I'll just go into this right now because that question has come up. Last year when we announced the winners at Summit, it was me reading from the notebook and then showing the logo up on the screen. The plan this year is to take some of the presentation video that you're submitting through the local winner QR code. We want to take some of that video. We would also like to get some still shots, and we're planning to have an actual video showing of the winners this year. So instead of just the school logo and the students' names, the students' pictures and video of them doing the project or the presentation will actually be up on screen. So a lot more presence this year, and we think it's gonna be maybe a little bit better than Ben reading out of a notebook. If I was a student, I think I would certainly want to know what the award looks like as well.
Well, thank you for sharing. I will share that with them. I think they will be excited about the social media presence.
Oh, good. All good questions. What else do we have? All right, I wanted to make sure that I talked about the dates again for the submission process. Some of the things that we're looking for. All of the artifacts are listed in the submission type form. Once you start the submission process, you don't have to finish it immediately. You can come back to it. So if you want to see what artifacts it is that we're looking for, then you can go through the type form, see the artifacts that we're asking for, gather all of those, and then submit it once you have everything together. So that submission window is pretty wide, and it was to give you time to get all of those things together. So you could figure out what it is you need to get from your students, what it is you need to get as far as the presentation goes. So I would just pop that up here one more time for you all to take a look at. So I will send that out on, I will send that out the first week of February. So you'll have the whole month of February through March 10th, and that'll be March 10th at midnight is when you'll have to submit those local winners. And then from there, we'll take it over for the regional competitions. So we still have some time. In fact, we still have time for you to hold those local competitions. The suggestion from the timeline to have your local competitions finished in January was just a suggestion to help you build your own timeline for your competition. We know things happen. We know that some things get delayed. So if you haven't had your local competition yet, no sweat. Hold that competition, get those kiddos entered so they can be considered as a regional winner. All right. I'm going to leave the QR code up here one more time. If you do have a question that I haven't answered, or if you have a question that maybe you just didn't want to ask over the big group chat here, please put that in, and I will follow up with you as soon as I can. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to stay on through the whole time because I did say 4:30, but you are welcome to log off. Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey Ben, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Look, I'm sorry I didn't see you up there to admit you in. It scrolled past it.
I was
How long were
late.
you, how long were you waiting?
Just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes.
Okay, gosh, my apologies. How's it
No,
going?
it's fine. I joined late actually, so I was trying to watch the time, and then I got distracted doing something, and so I'm doing okay. Just trying to hang in there.
Good.
You basically answered my question because I was wanting to know when is the last day officially that we can submit things.
Gotcha.
So, and I figured it would probably be around March 10th because it's generally around March 13th.
Yep.
And I do know I'm still trying to recruit judges for our showcase. And our showcase is probably not going to be until the week of March the 3rd.
Okay.
So until I get my judges recruited, I won't know which day that week it's going to be. So I and I have to book out a space because our environment is not built for like presentations. So I have to book a space upstairs at our district offices to house it. And basically March the 3rd through the 7th is when I could get the room booked.
Okay.
So that was my big question. And then you had mentioned at the fall meeting something about students being recognized or something at the STEM Summit.
Yeah. So what we're looking at this year is each teacher for the student group. Like if your kids won again, y'all won last year, one of the levels. Is that right?
Yeah, regional, and then they competed at state. They didn't win last year.
Okay, that's right. So if your
They
kid,
did the year before.
gotcha. That's what it was. If your kids won, then your students would be recognized on screen, and we would take clips from the video that you submitted, and we would ask you for still shots of your students, and we would have them up on the screen, but you yourself would receive a free ticket to Summit. Like we would hold your spot at Summit, and then you would actually come up on stage to receive the physical award.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll
So
do,
teacher, not the winning team.
that's right. So teacher physically present, winning team on the board, and then social media posts.
Okay. All right. So what I've done, I did this last year, but it ends up making the video a little bit longer for local presentation times. What that we end up submitting for regional. Last year, I had our district communications person in there filming because we were so backed up against the deadline that I knew we would not have time to redo a whole lot of their pitches.
Gotcha.
So, and we ended up having to submit the video from our school showcase
Okay.
as their regional submission. So how much of a stickler is regional to that time frame that's in the rubric?
So is
Because
your
I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just going to ask, is your question like if you submitted your local winners by March 10th, are you
Mhm.
are you asking can we use the video after March 10th?
No, I'm asking it, can we use that video that we use at our local showcase as their regional submission?